What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. So, on this channel, we often talk about Bitcoin providing you the most downside volatility protection. What that means is, in the setting of a market downturn, typically Bitcoin is going to go down less compared to Ethereum and the altcoins. That's one of the primary reasons that we make Bitcoin such a large part of our portfolio, is because in the setting of these downturns, like the end of a market cycle, for instance, if you have altcoins in your portfolio and that is your primary portfolio holding, typically and historically, your portfolio is going to get annihilated. All right. So today, what we're going to do is analyze whether that trend still holds true and if anything has shifted in the nature of the market, if the characteristics of the market that we've come to know and expect remain true, or whether we're seeing new trends developing. All right. So, the way we're going to perform this analysis is simply by looking at market cycle peak to both a series of local bottoms and the total market cycle bottom. So this is looking at the end of the market cycle in 2017 December when Bitcoin peaked, and January 2018 when Ethereum and the altcoins peaked. All right. So we see that Bitcoin hits its peak on 12/11, or the week of 12/11 2017. We're looking at the weekly time frame here. And then, basically a large downtrend after going below its 20-week moving average on the first week of February. And, we see the same thing with Ethereum and the same thing with the altcoins, as we would expect. The market is still somewhat homogenous. When Bitcoin is trending down, the entire market is trending down. All right. So these are the series of trends that we're going to be looking at and trying to identify if anything has changed, reevaluating our approach to the markets, and with that, making any necessary adjustments to our investment strategy. So we see this long-term downtrend. And note that the second week of December is when Bitcoin peaked. The market bottoms out actually exactly 1 year later in the second week of December of 2018. So this is 1 year almost to the day that Bitcoin hits its peak until the market cycle bottom. All right. In that time, Bitcoin is down 83%. However, you'll notice that Ethereum, on the other hand, is down 93.4%, and the altcoins are down approximately 91%. Notice we're going from close to close rather than peak to bottom. So we have Bitcoin down 83%, Ethereum down 94%, and the altcoins down approximately 91%. I should mention one last thing, and that is that the altcoin total market cap that we're looking at here excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're looking at the altcoins other than Ethereum. All right. So, like we said, and like we expect, Bitcoin gives us basically the most downside volatility protection, as we saw, at least, and this is historically. We're going to see if this trend continues today. 2018 was basically a massive down period, Bitcoin down 83%. And then we consolidated all through the first 4 months of 2019. On the week of April 1st, 2019, we hit about a 26% gain in a single week. Okay. So the market cap went from, I think it was around 70 billion. Yeah. 70 billion up to about 90 billion. Okay. So in a single week. So a breakout. Then we go up and we basically sort of top out right at around 200 billion on the week of July 1st. Okay. Then we sort of go sideways until basically the end of September. All right. So the next thing we're going to measure is from this peak, which actually occurred right here, the first week of August. And we're going to see how much downside there was from that point until the COVID capitulation event. All right. And that's demonstrated here. And yet again, you're seeing Bitcoin down 53%, Ethereum down 59%, and the altcoins were down 66%. Okay. Now, from this point though, I'm not just doing the entire altcoin market. I'm actually looking at a collection of the top 10 or 15 altcoins rather than, just the entire altcoin market. Because if you recall during this time, a lot of new coins are being added. New coins are coming out and, their market caps are being added to this total. And it sort of skews the data if you just look at all of the altcoins. So we're only looking at the top 15 or so altcoins. And that's relevant because if you think about it, a lot of people are going to be invested in your top 15 altcoins. It's why they are the top 15 altcoins. All right. So this is the top 15 altcoins and they are down 66%. Okay. If you're interested to know what these were, you can look at 6/17/2019 on CoinMarketCap. It has a historical snapshot. You can go back and look at any given time and it will tell you what the highest value cryptocurrency assets were at any given time. So we're looking at the week of 6/17/2019 here. All right. And you can see it includes the likes of XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, Binance Coin, Satoshi Vision, Cardano, XLM, XMR. And I think that's actually the entire list. I think I just used the top 10 here. And again, Ethereum is excluded from this list. But the point remains, it is down 66% during this time. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, this doesn't really sound like a big difference, this 52% or 66%. But think about it like this. If you start with $1,000 and you lose 50% of your total portfolio value, what does your portfolio have to do to get back to your starting point? And the answer is you have to make a 100% gain, all right? And that's just losing 50%. On the other hand, if you lose 66%, well, now you're at $333 approximately. So what does your portfolio have to do? It has to gain 200% from where you're at. So you have to make all of your money back once and then make it all back a second time. So this small 15% difference that you're seeing between 50% and approximately, we'll just call this 50% and 66%. That relatively small difference is the difference between only needing to go up 100% and needing to go up 200%, okay, to get back to starting point. And this gap grows. So, if you went all the way down, let's say you had a 75% loss compared to a 50% loss. Again, the 50% loss, you're going to be at 500. You only need to double your money from where you're at. So 100% gain to get back to $1,000. But if you have a 75% loss, all right, now you're at $250 and you're going to have to basically make a 300% gain from that point just to get back to where you were. So if it goes down from 1,000 down to 250, you're going to have to make 250 3 times just to get back to even. All right. So these small percentage changes actually lead to the necessity to have massive returns in order just to get back to even. All right. And that's something a lot of people don't think about. And that's why having decreased downside volatility is so important. All right. So we're seeing again in 2019 through 2020, through March of 2020, Bitcoin is providing you the most downside volatility protection. All right. Compared to Ethereum, which is down about 59%, and compared to the altcoin market, which is down about 66%. That brings us out to here. And recall our next big downturn after we saw with the COVID capitulation event was May. So, I'm sure we all remember what happened in May. Even the new people are going to remember what happened in May at this point. So right at around May 14th, or so, Bitcoin goes below its 20-week moving average. And as we've said a billion times, when Bitcoin goes below the 20-week moving average, you're in for a period of downturn. And that's what we're seeing. So we saw in May, everything dropped down. And now we're going to compare again, we're going to compare Bitcoin to Ethereum and finally the altcoins. And this time, so we're looking at the top 10 altcoins yet again. And this time we have a different series of altcoins. All right. So we have Binance Coin, XRP, Doge, Cardano, Polkadot, Uniswap, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Link, and Matic. As far as Doge goes, I'm just going to say this. You may not like Doge. Guess what? Doge has been on and off a top 10 altcoin dating back to 2014. So it's clearly shown, a resiliency over time. And, I could have chose to exclude it from the list. But at the end of the day, it's a top 10 altcoin at this time. So, we should include it in our list. And in fact, it's still, I'm not exactly sure where Doge is at right now, but I think it may even still be a top 10. And if it's not a top 10, it's just outside of it. But I still think that it's actually within the top 10. So we're going to include it. All right. So again, what we see is Bitcoin down 47% during this downturn, Ethereum down 51%. Okay. And the altcoins down 55%. Right. So remember, we said this 10% difference may not seem like a lot, but when you do the math and you determine how much you're going to need to recover to get back that 10%, the number is significant. Okay. So we basically go from the first week of March all the way down here to the middle of July, and that's when the market recovers. All right. So we're just going to the lowest close, and actually the altcoins were down 55% at their lowest close. Okay. So like we said, and again, altcoins 55%, Bitcoin 47, and Ethereum 51%. Now, this is the interesting part. So we have our, our current downturn. All right. So this is where we're at the moment. And, it's early in the downturn. The downturn could certainly be over. We're seeing a green candle right now. In fact, when I first started, doing this analysis today, this was actually a red candle. It's since turned into a green candle, which is good. But what we're seeing is something interesting occurring. And that is that Bitcoin right now is actually not providing you the most downside protection. In fact, between your top altcoins, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, Bitcoin is down currently the most. Okay. So, and if we go to where we're at right now, rather than, our maximum low, we can see if that makes any difference. And in fact, still, your altcoins are down to their lowest, their lowest close so far, 26%. Ethereum is down 15%, and Bitcoin is down 29% almost to its lowest bottom. So what does this mean? Well, it's interesting because, like we said, it's still early in this particular downturn, potentially. If this is actually if this were a bear market starting, this could go on for, a year or more. And then we would certainly have to see whether, the downside of these altcoins will sort of give out and they will actually go down like we've seen in the past, going down 90% or more. Or potentially, we could be in a position where we're seeing a transition shift in the market. And what I mean by that is, if you look at your altcoins back in sort of 2017, 2018, a lot of them were simply alternatives to Bitcoin for one reason or another. Essentially very similar to Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, just simple alternatives. So, there would be certain, nuances, the differences between them. And this isn't all cases. I'm, thinking of several specific coins. But what I mean by this is, back then, a lot of coins other than, coins and tokens other than Ethereum may not have had much definite use case other than, maybe a payment method. Whereas now we're seeing Ethereum having just billions of dollars locked in value, numerous apps built on the Ethereum network. And the same goes for many of these altcoins, here we're looking at BNB, Sol, Cardano, XRP, Polkadot, Doge, Shiba. Again, Shiba's in the top 10. I debated whether to include it or not, and at the end of the day, I just decided to include it. Shiba, Luna, AVAX, and Uniswap. And I've actually also done, you know, these coins here: Solana, XRP, Cardano, Polkadot, Doge, Shiba, Luna, Link, Avalanche, and Matic. So I decided to include some others that may not be in the top 10, but are certainly within the top 15 and, heavily held. And even there we see down about 27%, which is still less than Bitcoin. Okay. So the reason I say this is because now we're in a situation where these altcoins actually create value. Okay. They actually have use cases. They are signing partnerships. There's value created with the altcoins that we have now. And this is not necessarily a trend that we were seeing back here, and certainly not back here in late 2017, early 2018. So I'm not out here ringing the bell that Bitcoin is dead, Ethereum is the new king, providing you all this, all this stability in the market, and that the altcoins are soon to replace Bitcoin as stores of value, and there's no reason to be invested in Bitcoin anymore. I'm certainly not saying that because, I don't necessarily buy into that for a second. But what I am saying is this is a trend worth watching simply because, I think the quality of the altcoins has drastically changed over the years, and we're dealing with, this is debatable. We're in the zone right now where I'm giving my opinions. Okay, I have no, other than the fact I can tell you that the altcoins simply do create more value than they did back then. But at the end of the day, we're seeing for one of the first times, a place where the market sort of tops and trends down all at the same time. There is no blow off top. There is no massive run of the altcoins right now, like we typically see at the end of a market. Even like we saw back here in May, we saw a lot of your altcoins go on a huge run right at the first 2 weeks to first 3 weeks of May. We're not seeing that now. We saw it trend up. And, another interesting thing actually quickly that we can look at, if you want to see, what sort of gains were made during this time. So Bitcoin did about 107%. Ethereum did about 147%. And the altcoins likewise did 174%. So if you're going to be in a position where you are getting similar downside volatility protection to Bitcoin, then we need to evaluate whether it makes sense to continue to make Bitcoin our number one holding. Now, recall, we have 4 years, if not more, of data showing Bitcoin does in fact provide you with more downside volatility protection in merely one portion potentially of one downturn, showing you where Bitcoin has performed worse. So we're not going to, put the nail in the coffin on Bitcoin. That's not what we're saying. All we're saying is this is a trend which we need to continue to monitor. It would be foolish to not do so. All right. If Bitcoin isn't going to protect us from the downside and isn't going to give us the same upside potential, then it draws into question why we are investing in it. All right. So that's all I'm saying here, guys. It's something to watch. Again, I know I'm going to get comments, people saying, oh, it's foolish to think that, the altcoins, this reason and that reason. I get it. I understand. I'm well aware of all the potential reasons, how this analysis may be flawed. Nonetheless, it's worth watching. If you even exclude the altcoins, it's worth watching merely for the fact that it's, certainly worth watching to see if the trend between Bitcoin and Ethereum continues. Okay. Like we said, on this channel, we do macro level analysis. This is more of a local trend that's occurring. We're not going to wave any victory or defeat flags right now. We're just going to watch. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you guys are interested in discussing the cryptocurrency asset class from a macro level perspective, you can head over to the Discord channel. I also put out exclusive videos on that channel, and you can find the link to those there. Another thing you might be interested in is the DCA index risk model. You can find this link to sign up for the DCA index risk model on the Discord channel. It's a free machine learning algorithm that I've developed, which helps you identify market cycle peaks and bottoms of Bitcoin and the major altcoins. That's it for this one, guys. Until next time, as usual, see ya.